I got to play Mario Kart World. Is it the same old as previous Mario Kart games in terms of accessibility? Or did Nintendo go off-road and try something new? Let's find out. I'm Steve Saylor, I'm blind, and if you're wondering how I can play video games if I'm blind, if you take a look at the video here or click the link in the description down below, you'll be able to see exactly what I see and how I play video games. All right, so thank you so much to Nintendo Canada for inviting me to their Nintendo Switch 2 experience. I got to try out the Switch 2 and I got to try out a whole bunch of games. Make sure you're subscribed to this YouTube channel to be able to see all the videos I'm gonna be putting out of each of the games I played. But if you want to be able to also check out what I thought of the Switch 2 hardware, I already did a video about that. You can click here or link in the description down below. I'll have a whole playlist of the whole thing on my YouTube channel as well. All right, let's talk Mario Kart World. How the Nintendo Switch 2 experience was kind of laid out was kind of interesting. When you first get into the experience, you get to see all the hardware and all the different accessories. You get to actually hold the Nintendo Switch 2 in your hand, but you don't get to play anything just yet, but you get to try out taking out the Joy-Cons and all that stuff, and that was really cool. But then behind the curtain, you got to go into their, basically, their game stations, and the first game they have you try before you even get to any other games is Mario Kart World. I got to try out two different versions or two different modes of Mario Kart World, which is your normal Grand Prix and then also Knockout mode. I'll talk about Grand Prix first before I get into Knockout mode. Grand Prix is your traditional Mario Kart experience. You choose your character, you choose a track, and then the other players get to vote on the track. The only difference is that obviously these tracks are new. There's a lot more characters to be able to choose from, and there's 24 players, or at least 24 carts that are going onto this track, which can get very, very chaotic even in the best of times. I got to play this in TV mode and in handheld mode, and what I loved about in handheld mode was that the screen looks great. I didn't notice any fidelity loss at all just on handheld mode. Even with going into TV mode, I don't see the difference in quality, to be honest, and that could be just my own vision, but to me it looked great. Actually, I noticed a lot more detail in the character models and in the courses themselves. You could see that Nintendo definitely went through a fidelity upgrade and kind of putting Mario Kart into 4K or HDR at least to be able to improve the quality and the look of Mario Kart World. And you could see that in each of the tiny little details that they put in there. And you could be able to see that in both handheld and in TV mode. When it comes to sort of the settings of Mario Kart World, that was the first thing I tried to be able to get access to. Unfortunately, and you'll notice this will be a pattern for all the demos that I got to play, this is not necessarily a reflection of just a bad move on Nintendo, but I wasn't able to check out the settings menu of Mario Kart World. And I think it was due to the fact that each demo was timed to about 20 minutes. It was meant to allow other people to be able to simply play the game and then get more people in there to be able to try it out, so that way people weren't hogging the stations, as it were. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to kind of bypass that demo and check out the settings, but they did actually have a few settings turned on for us for both Knockout and also Grand Prix. In terms of control modes, not much has changed since the previous Mario Kart games, including even Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. You have smart steering, auto accelerate, auto use item, and you have tilt controls. We've seen this already shown in the Mario Kart World Direct that they had just recently. And they had auto steering and also auto accelerate on. Now, I've never actually had auto accelerate on whenever I played Mario Kart 8 in the past, so it was actually kind of interesting to kind of just basically all I had to do was just kind of steer as best I could and then use my items. And I thought that auto steering, essentially, again, I don't really use it because I just play normal Mario Kart, I actually originally thought that auto steering just kind of like just turn the cart for you, but in reality it actually just keeps you on the track, so you're not going off track or off road, so you're not basically falling down and having to be able to be picked back up again and put back on the track. So that was actually something that I was like, oh, okay, that was a nice surprise. And then I found out, oh, it's been like the way that has been all along, so my apologies. Now, if you're wondering if there's any additional accessibility for those modes, I would have to say no. I couldn't really tell 100% because I wasn't able to play the game with headphones on, anyone. It was just TV speakers, and it was just a lot of noise in this large area of just everyone playing. So I couldn't tell if there was any audio cues that would allow you to be able to let you know where you are on the track, whether you're on the left or right side of the track, as we've seen in games like Forza Motorsport. So I don't know if this will be an improvement for disabled players that we haven't already seen before. There was one feature that I didn't notice until I actually rewatched the Mario Kart World Direct, in that they had a feature that they announced called Rewind, which we've seen in Forza Horizon series before, that allows you to be able to rewind a mistake that you made while on the track. They did mention that this is available in multiplayer mode when you're playing against other players. The only thing that caveat they said was that other players are going at normal speed, so you do run the risk of potentially falling behind if you use a rewind feature. It is still an accessibility option. Glad it's there, and I'm also glad it's in multiplayer too. But if you do enable auto accelerate, auto steer, and also auto use items, you can technically be able to play this relatively easily with only just pushing basically 1 or 2 buttons at a time, which can be great for those who are smaller, like a 3-year-old or 4-year-old can be able to play Mario Kart and not fall off the track or fall behind or doesn't know how to use items. They get to basically have fun. But I feel like for disabled players who want to be able to have that challenge of driving into a kart race, I think with those 3 options on, it kind of takes away that challenge from you, unfortunately. Even though they are designed to be accessible to a certain degree, you definitely can see that it wasn't designed with disabled people in mind, because that challenge is essentially gone if you have those 3 options there. Now, segueing into knockout mode, because this does actually pertain to what I'm talking about, they did bring us into a section of where we got to play against 24 other people. And the way that knockout mode works is that you're going down a very long track, and you just have to hit as many checkpoints as you possibly can. And as long as you're you're ahead of other people and you're ahead by certain placements in the race, then you'll be able to keep going and keep driving. I unfortunately only made it past 1 checkpoint. I got to as far as like the second one. I thought I made it through, but I just missed it by like less than a second. So unfortunately, I was knocked out, as it were. But the good thing is, though, is that with those control modes that I mentioned, is that they are still enabled in knockout mode. So if you're worried about basically being not being able to play online with other 24 other players in these types of modes, these settings are still enabled, which is something that I actually do applaud Nintendo for, because we have seen in other games, not beyond just Nintendo, on other platforms, where a lot of accessibility is locked out because of multiplayer mode, because it generally can be seen accessibility can be unfair to players. So to be able to see that you can have auto accelerate and also auto steer, and I would assume also auto item use as well, to be able to have that enabled in this mode too, goes to show that I think that with all the online modes within Mario Kart World, you could still be able to use those control modes throughout the entire game, and that's actually really nice. At least in regards to multiplayer, you can still have the same experience as you would if you were just playing locally. So overall, based on my experience and what we've seen already in the Mario Kart World Direct, do I think Mario Kart World is going to be more accessible than previous Mario Kart games? I don't think so. With the addition of the rewind feature, that is a pretty neat feature and can be seen as accessibility. But if you weren't able to play Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, more than likely you probably won't be able to play Mario Kart World. There is some quality of life improvements based on my own personal gameplay and just looking at the Direct, that I can see that there is going to be some new additions that will help and kind of make the game better to play. But if you're looking for any additional features or anything that will help those who felt like they were left out in playing Mario Kart, I don't think that this game is going to be for you, which is a shame, because as this is going to be Nintendo's flagship title for the launch of the Switch 2, I would have loved to have been able to see a little bit more effort put into accessibility. but it looks like we're gonna have to wait maybe a little bit longer. Hopefully, maybe in a future update or maybe in future games. You gotta remember, accessibility takes time, and Nintendo is still very, very, very new to accessibility. But I am still gonna try to be able to review this to be able to see if maybe there is any additional features that we have not seen that could potentially help out disabled players. I'll keep an eye on that once I can be able to get my hands on a copy, hopefully a review copy before launch, or hopefully at launch. We'll see. Stay tuned to this YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel so you can be able to see that when it happens. Also, make sure you subscribe, because all this week I'm releasing videos about all the games I played at the Switch 2 experience, so stay tuned for that. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section down below. Because of the nature of the gameplay, the demo, I may not be able to answer much. I know there's a question about, can you be able to use the Hori controller with the Switch 2? I don't know. I wasn't able to try that out, so we were limited on what we were able to play, but I'll try to answer as best as I can if I see a question I can't answer in the comments. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you in the next video, and as always, I remain obediently yours. Bye-bye.